What's going on YouTube? I'm John with Longhaul Lifesavers, and today we're going to show you how to replace your interior speakers. So the tools that you're going to need for this job, first is a Phillips head screwdriver. Second, you're going to need a drill with a drill bit. And then you're going to need some form of speakers. Now when you're changing these speakers out, you need to do a slim mount or a shallow mount is what they're called. The only ones we could find at the RV store were waterproof. You don't necessarily need waterproof for the interior, but it's all we could find. We're in a pinch and they need replaced. The other tool you may need if you have tall ceilings is some type of ladder or step stool. Now be careful when you're doing this and make sure you don't fall off because that's never fun. Now when you're shopping around for speakers, you can go to car audio stores or to a boat store. A lot of times they have marine grade speakers if you're wanting to replace the exterior speakers. A lot of the car audio stores should have the shallow mount or the ultra thin speakers. I didn't necessarily want to go with the brand that we got, but like I said, we were in a pinch and none of the car audio stores had any upgrades that would fit into the holes that we're trying to fit these speakers in. We also said, if you watched our Finally Friday video last Friday, that we were going to change out the exterior speakers as well. Well, that has kind of backfired because we couldn't find any speakers that would work for the exterior, so we had to order those online. So stay tuned for a future video if you want to know how to change your exterior speakers. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take out however many screws are around the ring holding your speaker in place into the ceiling. Pull the speaker out and then disconnect. The wire pulled out. So if you can see right here, the connector pulled out of the wire, which means it wasn't a good connection to begin with from the factory. That may be the reason that our speakers are cutting in and out, not necessarily that they're blown. Okay, so this is a side-by-side comparison of the old speaker to the new speaker. Really, the only difference is that the old speaker has 3 holes and the new speaker has 4 holes. So we're gonna have to drill a new hole into the ceiling to make sure that this is fully mounted. Other than that, they are pretty much the same depth. This one's white, this one's a little bit of cream, but we don't really care. Looking at the back of the speakers, the old compared to the new, you can see that the magnet or the driver on the new speaker is completely encased, as well as the wiring. This is what makes the new one a marine grade or waterproof speaker. So if what happens to you happened to me, or you have to change your wire nuts or your connections, just know that there is a smaller and a larger end. The smaller is the negative and the larger is the positive. So when you go to change your connections, you're going to have a smaller and a larger. Make sure you put the smaller on the negative side wire. To make these wire connections, it already came with the connectors, but you are going to need a second tool, which is a cutter and a wire crimper. So now we're going to change out these wire connectors, and like I said, there's a negative and a positive. So the LH positive is going to be for the left-hand speaker, and the RH positive or negative is going to be for the right hand. So it gives you a stereo effect and it's not just coming out of the left side. Usually, typically, if it's wired correctly, the negative or the RH negative is going to have a black strip around it, which is going to be a little difficult to see because the camera is far away, but just trust me, there's usually a black strip on these. And for these, because these are speaker wire, if your head unit's off, there's really no power going to these. And if there is any power, it's a very minimal amount. You're not going to have to turn off any kind of breakers or anything like that. It's not like your lights where it can harm you. If you touch these 2 wires together, it's kind of be like putting a 9-volt battery on your tongue. Now I have the wires stripped with the copper wire exposed, and I'm ready to put the connectors on. So now we have the connectors in place, and like I said, remember to put the smaller connector on the negative side like we have here. So now that we have the connectors in, we are ready to connect the new speaker and get it mounted with the existing holes if we possibly can. If not, then we'll have to drill all new holes. Okay, so we have the speaker wired. It's just dangling right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the radio and make sure it works before we screw it all in. So we were able to use one of the existing holes, so I put one screw in to hold the speaker there and then drilled the other 3 holes as pilot holes to put in the remaining screws. You also don't want to over tighten them because it's easy to strip out the wood that's surrounding these speakers. Once you have the process down to replace one, now you can just translate this on to however many other speakers you have. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a comment below. We do our best to answer all of them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.